This video is a follow-up of the first CIA Declassified, where we reviewed topics such as hypnosis, transcendental meditation, hemisync, frequency response, role of resonance, consciousness and energy, plus more. If you haven't already viewed it, I'll leave a link in the description below, so be sure to check it out. In a nutshell, this declassified document could be one of the most powerful documents ever released, as it explains in great depth the consciousness matrix. If the information in this document is taken in and fully understood, one may begin to experience drastic changes in their reality, as the filters of perception begin to change into a conscious understanding of the oscillating energy grid systems and multi-layered dimensions that we exist within. Before our explanation can proceed any further, it is essential to define the mechanism by which the human mind exercises the function known as consciousness, and to describe the way in which that consciousness operates, to deduce meaning from the stimuli which it receives. To do this, we will first consider the fundamental character of the material world in which we have our physical existence. In order to accurately perceive the raw stuff with which our consciousness must work, the first point which needs to be made is that the two terms, matter and energy, tend to be misleading, if taken to indicate two distinctly different states of existence in the physical world that we know it. Indeed, if the term matter is taken to mean solid substance, as opposed to energy, which is understood to mean a force of some sort, then the use of the former is entirely misleading. Science now knows that both the electrons, which spin in the energy field located around the nucleus of the atom, and the nucleus itself, are made up of nothing more than oscillating energy grids. Solid matter, in the strict construction of the term, simply does not exist. Rather, atomic structure is composed of oscillating energy grids, surrounded by other oscillating energy grids, which orbit at extraordinarily high speeds. In his book, Stalking the Wild Pendulum, Itzhak Bentov gives the following figures. The energy grid which composes the nucleus of the atom vibrates at approximately 10 to the power of 22 Hz, which means 10 followed by 22 zeros, at 70 degrees Fahrenheit. An atom oscillates at the rate of 10 to the power of 5 Hz. An entire molecule, composed of a number of atoms bound together in a single energy field, vibrates in the range of 10 Hz. A live human cell vibrates at approximately 103 Hz. The point to be made is that the entire human being, brain, consciousness, and all is, like the universe which surrounds him, nothing more or less than an extraordinarily complex system of energy fields. The so-called states of matter are actually variances in the state of energy, and human consciousness is a function of the interaction of energy in two opposite states, motion versus rest. described in the following paragraph. Energy creates, stores, and retrieves meaning in the universe by projecting or expanding at certain frequencies in a three-dimensional mode that creates a living pattern called a hologram. The concept of the hologram can be most easily understood by using an example cited by Bentov, in which he asks the reader to visualize a bowl full of water into which 3 pebbles are dropped, as the ripples created by the simultaneous entry of the 3 pebbles radiate outward, towards the rim of the bowl. Bentov further asks the reader to visualize that the surface of the water is suddenly flash frozen, so that the ripple pattern is preserved instantly. The ice is removed, leaving the 3 pebbles still laying at the bottom of the bowl. Then the ice is exposed to a powerful, coherent source of light, such as a laser. The result will be a 3-dimensional model, or representation of the position of the 3 pebbles suspended in midair. Holograms are capable of encoding so much detail that, for example, it is possible to take a holographic projection of a glass of swamp water and view it under magnification to see small organisms not visible to the naked eye, when the glass of water itself is examined. Of further importance is the fact that, even if we dropped our frozen hologram of the ripple pattern on the floor and broke it into a number of pieces, each individual piece would recreate the entire holographic image all by itself. The smaller the piece, the fuzzier and more distorted would be the resulting holographic projection, but the fact remains that a whole projection would nonetheless be made. The key to creating any hologram is that energy in motion must interact with energy in a state of rest. In the foregoing example, the pebbles represent energy in motion, while the water represents energy at a state of rest. To activate, or, in effect, to perceive the meaning of a holograph, energy must be passed through the interference pattern generated by interaction between the moving energy and the energy at rest. The pebbles represent the smaller the piece, the fuzz to a number of pieces. Each individual piece would recreate the entire holographic image, all
is that it is always the case that it is our experimental colleagues that prevent us from forming a religion, because it is always grounded in what they can measure, as Marcello keeps coming back to. And so although people can express either enthusiasm or dismay about where we are at a given point in time, I think that we need to be a little bit more humble and to understand that the process that we engage in is a constant flight from fantasy about what we would want to happen, and we query nature for that, and that query goes through experiment. So although this has probably been very entertaining for my audience here, I think that at the end of the day, we have to keep grounded in it's got to be about things that affect your lives, and those things are measurable.
So where has this pursuit taken you?
Oh my God.
Where have you landed?
Why would you ask that?
I'm asking that here and now. It's New York City. It's
Okay.
March 7th.
Well, partly it's taken to these very strange images that are behind your head right now. These are pictures of equations. I've been, for the last 15 years, trying to answer the kinds of questions that my colleagues here have been raising. And what I've come to understand is that there are these incredible pictures that contain all the information of a set of equations that are related to string theory. And it's even more bizarre than that, because when you then try to understand these pictures, you find out that buried in them are computer codes, just like the type that you find in a browser when you go surf the web. And so I'm left with the puzzle of trying to figure out whether I live in the matrix or not.
Wait, you're blowing my mind at this moment. So you're saying, are you saying your attempt to understand the fundamental operations of nature leads you to a set of equations that are indistinguishable from the equations that drive search engines and browsers on our computers?
That is correct. So,
wait, I have to just be silent for a minute here. So you're saying as you dig deeper, you find computer code writ in the fabric of the cosmos?
Into the equations that we want to use to describe the cosmos, yes.
Computer code writ in the fabric of the cosmos?
Into the equations that we want to use to describe the cosmos.
But I have to just be silent for a minute. Equations that drive search engines and the fundamental operations of nature leads you to a set of equations that are indistinguishable from the equations that drive search engines and browsers on our computers.
That is correct. So,
wait, I have to just be silent for a minute here. So you're saying as you dig deeper, you find computer code writ in the fabric of the cosmos?
Into the equations that we want to use to describe the cosmos, yes.
Computer code.
Computer code, strings of bits of ones and zeros.
It's not just sort of resembles computer code. You're saying it is computer code.
It's not even just is computer code. It's a special kind of computer code that was invented by a scientist named Claude Shannon in the 1940s. That's what.
Saying it is computer code.
It's not even just is computer code. Those strings of bits of ones and zeros.
It's not just